to the latest episode of the Be Better podcast with me, your host, Tim Jones, that B Corp bloke. Thank you, as always, to our regular listeners, viewers, watchers, subscribers, what have yous. You know how this rolls. You listen to probably way bigger podcasts than mine, and even they are begging for likes and subscribes. So I feel like I am well within my rights to beg for likes and subscribes, because the more likes and subscribes we get, we might get some money for the podcast, and then we can get some really cool stuff. I don't know, like lights and cameras. Who knows? Give it a go. It could be amazing. Anyway, with me today, I have got the amazing Helen Townsend. G'day, Helen. How's it going?
Good. Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me on. This is exciting.
I reckon, and this is the second time we've spoken today on Zoom. That's how crazy today's been.
I know.
It's like London buses. We haven't seen each other for 6 months, and then twice in one day on Zoom.
No,
but that's how life goes.
Withdrawal symptoms, so we just double them up.
Exactly. We've got to make the most of it. Yeah. So for people who don't know who Helen Townsend is, and there can't be that many of them, but for people who don't know who you are you and what do you do?
Okay. Well, I am Helen, and I am the co-founder of Sustained Fun, which is the world's first climate change focused toy company.
Very cool. And you have one of your little friends on the wall behind you there. This is Mr. or Mrs. EcoSplat.
Yeah, I just refer to it as That's flat. Nice. Flat. It's quite threatening considering it's looking at me. So.
It looks like a speller. For people who aren't watching the video, there's a little well, you can explain what it is, but there's a little creature over Helen's right shoulder that looks like it could at any minute jump on her head.
Yeah, well, it's a reusable water balloon, but it has eyes and arms and legs and a little smiley mouth, and I put it there, and now I feel like if it moves, you have to let me know.
It'll start slowly peeling off. Do you remember that you could get those toys as a kid? I had like those little octopus toy that you threw on the wall, and then it would slowly come down, and it was great for the first one. And then as soon as it hit the carpet, it got dog hair and everything else on it. It was just like, I think I'm done with that now.
Yeah, that was a one-use wonder. At least you had a clean house.
Yeah, which
unlikely
if there's a child in it. Yeah. Anyone who's got a really clean house and a child is a psychopath, as far as I'm concerned.
I think so. The child may not be real.
yeah. A robot child to go with the robot vacuum cleaner and the robot lawnmower and all the other robots that you can now add into your house. So Sustained Fun. So talk to us about what explain to us. Obviously, like I say, you've got the reusable water balloon, which if people haven't got hold of a reusable water balloon yet, they don't know what they're missing. Just talk to us a little bit about what the sort of products you're doing and what's the general vibe behind the company that
So people who don't know us as Sustained Fun will hopefully know us as EcoSplat, because that is the product that we started with, and we knew that there would be other products, but we didn't know what they were yet. This was a couple of years ago. So we started with EcoSplat, and I have some here. The red one is missing. I don't know where it could have gone.
I wonder where that could be.
So EcoSplat reusable water balloons. So instead of single-use water balloons, which you throw once and then you have to spend hours picking them up off the lawn, and they create billions of bits of rubbish every year, and you have to keep spending money on them. These are reusable water balloons. So you dunk them in water, you throw them, and you can throw them multiple times in a water fight. So your water fight can last all day. And then you just hang them on the line to dry, and you're good to go for the next day. So we started this company in EcoSplat because my colleague Anthea Ibel, her daughter was just getting into water fight kind of ages. And she was like, there's no way I am buying disposable regular water balloons. So we need to come up with something that she can have water fun without all the rubbish.
Because I think this is the thing, because we won't name names, but we talked about a name earlier on in our other Zoom call, but we won't name them. There are brands of water balloons available all around the world, and many of them now have claims on them that yes, they're made of plastic, but it's biodegradable plastic, so it's okay. That's sort of part of the problem, isn't it? Because yes, it kind of might be biodegradable, but it's still microplastic and it's still crap for the environment.
Yeah. So firstly, balloons are made of latex, not plastic.
Right.
Okay. And latex is a natural substance from a rubber tree when it comes out of the tree. But by the time you've made it into a balloon, it's had colours and additives and plasticizers. It's been vulcanized, which sounds terrifying. But to make it stretchy and to make it so that it forms the shape of a balloon. So once you've got all of that stuff in a balloon, it's not biodegradable anymore. It's not a natural product. It's it's one step away from being a piece of rubbish. And if you've got packaging and other things with your water balloons, then it's just more rubbish, even if they are made from recycled plastic and they're recyclable, which is they're not really. It's just more rubbish. And then you play with them for like 5 minutes, and then what? You spend 3 hours picking up all the pieces.
Well, you say that people spend 3 hours, but most people don't pick up the pieces, and that's the thing.
They don't pick up
you see it. It's summertime here in New Zealand, and it's not uncommon that you'll see the detritus of a water balloon fight in a park or something, and there's just thousands and thousands of those little pieces of latex, not plastic.
We did some numbers, so we reckon it's about 700 pieces of rubbish per water fight, with single-use water balloons, which is ridiculous. And people have a lot of water fights, but some people have no water fights because their parents are like, I'm not buying you those. They're terrible for the environment. So we thought this was a really good toy to start with, to start changing the toy industry and making it more sustainable, because the fun with a reusable water balloon far outweighs the fun with something you have to pick up all the rubbish from.
100%. I mean, yeah, because we've got some, and it's certainly like there's no, if anything, there's like less disruption in terms of water fight tactics. It's not like, oh, I'm out of balloons. Can we all stop while I go and fill my next ones up? As long as you've both got access to a source of water, you can just constantly be revitalizing.
It's way more dynamic, way more fun, and way more interesting, because if someone throws one at you, you can just throw it straight back.
And there is that as well. Yeah, you get to, it's almost like dodgeball. If you catch it, it's coming straight back at you with interest. And they make a very satisfying splosh, splunk, splat sort of, and you don't sort of have plastic latexy bits sticking to your face.
No.
So yeah, it's a win-win-win. So it's quite cool that you sort of had that insight. I think that it's how a lot of problems are identified. It's something in front of us. It's that common refrain of we've interviewed Perry Drysdale from Untouched World, and she got into it starting off by making clothes for her kids out of wool, and she realized there's an opportunity here. So I think it's that classic sort of startup vibe of, this is shit, I think I can do this less shit or significantly better, so let's have a go. But before that, so because I know you as the rubbish whisperer, and I just thought, for me, I just always imagined you walking around shouting because you were rubbish at whispering. But that wasn't the intent behind the marketing angle. So because that's where I first met you, was when you were sort of more generally around environmental products per se. So tell people what was the rubbish whisperer about other than shouting?
I heard so many puns about rubbish and whispering.
Such as?
Well, there's the, do you whisper to rubbish? Are you a terrible whisperer? That's enough. So the rubbish whisperer, I started in 2013, and that was making reusable produce bags. And so 2013, there was only one other company in New Zealand selling reusable produce bags. They were totally revolutionary. And I had to explain to people why they might want a reusable bag, because people are like, but they give me free plastic ones from the supermarket. Yeah, I know. This is the point. So I started making those, and then the rubbish whisperer grew quite a lot, actually. I ended up having like 13 sewing contractors making reusable produce bags in New Zealand. They weren't all full-time, but there was at least 3 full-time people, I think. So with that, I introduced paper straws to New Zealand. And this was like 2 years before the turtle with the straw up its nose. And I walked around New Zealand cities trying to sell paper straws to cafes and restaurants. Most of them, like, no. They're like, why would I want this? Like, there's so much, we use so many straws. Why would I want to switch from plastic to paper? I was like, that is the point again. Like,
the clue was in, yeah, the fact that there's loads of them going in the bin. Yeah.
So the Rubbish Whisperer became like, we had a lot of products. We made sandwich wraps, which man, they're really hard, really technical to make. And what else did we do? I don't know, all kinds of things. And so that ran, well, finally I closed it because we swapped to Sustain Fun in 2020. And now last year, like, plastic straws are banned, and thin plastic produce bags are banned. And yeah, so it kind of was part of that whole grassroots movement to like, I guess, bring awareness to the single plastic items, which weren't even on the agenda in like 2012 and 2013. So it had massive impact. It was hard work. I hadn't run a business before. But yeah, that's what I did for, I guess, 5 years. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think it sort of feels you and I have had a bit of a similar, well, I think there's a lot of people in the sort of business for good arena. You know, I first started talking to people about B Corp in 2014, you know, and there were two B Corps in New Zealand and less than 1,000 or about 1,200 globally.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to know, you know, every conversation that you had with someone about a paper straw, you don't know how much impact that might have ultimately had to them changing their mind, because not everyone's going to see the potential or understanding the first time you have. I was listening to a podcast last night and they said, like, the second time, you know, the second and then the third and the fourth time somebody, it's like exponential, the chance that you will then change your mind the more you hear the message.
Yeah.
So because if one person says it, well, that person could be crazy and a real outlier. But if they say it and then my auntie says it and then my best mate says it and then I see it on the news, okay, right, okay, this is a thing now. And I think, yeah, don't underestimate the impact that you had of you traipsing around the country having those conversations, because you were more than likely the first time the person heard that. And quite often,
I definitely was the first.
100%. Yeah. Are there some towns you're now allowed back into, or are you still banned from certain areas of the country?
I have a friend who used to go into the like, before I knew him, he went into like a cafe in Wellington, and he was like, I don't want a paper straw, I want a plastic straw, because he was just winding them up. And
Nice.
He's like, I don't care about the turtles, and I was like, that's my customer.
Oh, it's tough, man. Yeah. So yeah, don't underestimate the impact that you probably had on that, you know, on that journey. Yeah, but it's interesting when you look at other parts of the world still where, you know, plastic bags and plastic in general, it's like, yeah, how many bags do you want? Just like take 100. Right, it's all good. Yeah, fun times. So what were you doing before all this? Like, obviously just started a business out of nowhere, no business experience. So what were you doing before that? And I guess the supplementary question was, well, what was the stroke of genius and or insanity that was like, I know, I'm going to start a business and go and tell people to change straws?
Yeah, I was working at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Edinburgh. So
as you do.
As you do. So I was working there on a project. This isn't irrelevant, but it's super interesting, so I'm just going to tell you anyway.
Go for it.
So I was working on a project to digitize plant specimens when they press the plant specimen, and that's used as identification for that species. And botanists went out from Europe in the 1800s, and they went to Africa and other places, and they took all the specimens back. And so now botanists in Africa don't have access to their most important specimens because they were taken back. So there was this project to put them all online, and I was part of that project, and I worked on that for a few years. So no interest in business at all, and I wanted to do science, but I didn't want to do postgrad, and it's hard to move up in science if you don't like research. So it's kind of necessary. So one of the so after I'd worked in Edinburgh for a few years, I ended up in Kathmandu in Nepal, and they were just joining this this project to put plant specimens online. And so I went there for 6 months to help them set up their program. And that was super interesting because we're setting up a digitization project in a building without any power.
Nice.
Without any internet. So
you think that might have been a conversation starter?
Yeah, they got solar, but there was no internet, so it was I used to have to go out 45 minutes on the bus and start setting up the project, and then if I ran into a problem, which I did because I'm not an IT person, catch the bus all the way back, wait for the hour of power that we had at our house, quickly go on the internet, look for a solution, wait for the next day, go back and try it out. So I did that.
That was committed.
But, yeah. But the thing with Nepal and Bangladesh, where I also spent some time, is that there's no centralized rubbish or even localized rubbish collection. And they've moved really fast from a society without any plastic to convenience-based plastic items. But there's nowhere to put the rubbish. So it just ends up on the street, and then it ends up in the river. And you're really confronted by all of this plastic. And it was when I was there that I thought, this is not good. And I know that in New Zealand we produce and use so much more plastic, but because it's all taken away, we never have to confront it. It's never top of our mind because it just vanishes. So when I came back to New Zealand, I had finished that job. I didn't have another job. And I was like, someone needs to do something about this. And I was like, it'll have to be me because no one else is doing anything. So I kind of I just set up the Rubbish Whisperer because, I don't know, I didn't want to run a business, but I wanted to provide a solution for a problem. And running a business was a way of doing it without having to get another job and then doing it on the side. So that's how I accidentally ended up in business. And it turns out in New Zealand it's really easy to start a business. You just register and pay like $60 and then you're in.
Frighteningly, I was actually thinking about that this morning. It's like people pay me money just because I have a business that I set up on the internet. It's like, that's pretty wild, where you sort of think, I was listening to a podcast. I listen to quite a lot of podcasts when I'm walking the dog. I was listening to another podcast where they're talking about, how this one lady, she was from Africa, and she was just talking about how it's almost impossible. So she lives in the US, but I think she's originally from Senegal. And she was just talking about how to set up a business in Senegal is practically impossible. And it has to almost be approved by the government. And then there's all these regulations about how you can hire people. And she said it's just an absolute nightmare. Whereas, you forget how easy in the US, UK, Aussie, New Zealand, it's like you just go onto a website and go, I've got a name.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any experience? No, it's the first time. It's gonna be great though.
I'm full of optimism.
Optimism. Yeah.
But in 10 years, I might know what I'm doing.
You watch me. Yeah. But I think there's so many businesses that start, particularly in the business for good space, where it's like, well, someone needs to do something about this.
Yeah. I really, really wanted someone else to do it. I didn't want to do it. And with loads of our product, it's all the stuff we do now. I'm like, someone really should do this. And then I wait for a while and no one does it. I'm like, fine.
All right then.
Fine,
I have to. Yeah. So, it sounds like though you've had a passion for the environment all your life. Like you've always been looking at that sort of world and conserving the environment. Would that be true to say?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think of it as conserving the environment. I just really like plants,
right,
and ecology. So when I was young, like primary school, high school kind of age, my dad, he was a beekeeper, and so he used to go out into the bush and farms near the bush to put his beehives out, and he used to bring home interesting things to show me, like, I don't know, interesting plant or a leaf or a cicada shell or skin or something. and they were members of Greenpeace and Forest and Bird, and I was in the KCC, the Kiwi Conservation Club. We used to go, I don't know, on walks. I remember we went and found some frogs, which I probably didn't appreciate, but considering New Zealand frogs are so endangered, that was pretty awesome. And then at uni, I did a degree in ecology and botany and things, and yeah, I just really like plants. And I just feel like, now it's acknowledged that there was a biodiversity crisis along with a climate crisis. But when I was at uni, it wasn't. And I remember thinking, why is nobody worried about this? Like, you hear people talk about, polar bears, but it's not just polar bears. It's it's like the collapse of insect populations. How when I was a kid, like you drive and your windscreen would be splattered with insects, and now nothing. There's nothing, and that is horrifying. And sustained fun is the way that we are helping that problem without. So Anthea's the same. She did marine biology, and also is not into research. So for us, sustained fun is a business that is designed to protect nature.
Nice.
Yeah.
In a way that you can kind of connect to without having to do too much research.
Yeah.
But obviously researching your products and what they're made of, and stuff like that.
We love research. Like the whole thing is built on research. We just want to read other people's research.
Nice. Not actually have to do it yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, and other people's research is super interesting, but it's really hard to like convey to people because it's in a research paper, and social media and marketing, it does not operate on a research paper thing. Yeah. So a lot of what we do is, because everything we do is grounded in scientific research, and a lot of what we do is taking a paper and putting it into one sentence that is still accurate. And that's pretty fun. We like that.
Synthesizing.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, there's always that music playing. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think and that's really, I think the world needs that in the world of bloody Twatterbook and Tickface, or whatever they're called.
I call them tick tock 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 like a chicken.
When everyone's so looking for content, but sort of starved of knowledge and wisdom. Being a conduit to maybe something a bit deeper in that world of bollocks. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, and it's cool. Yeah, that sort of parental influence. That's for parental influence for good, I suppose. That you sort of follow through.
Yeah, I think that I don't think I chose things for purpose. I've always chosen things that are really interesting. But for me, what is really interesting also seems to have a purpose.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't want to do something boring.
Yeah, why would you? Yeah. Other than research, obviously.
Yeah.
So coming back, to sort of sustained fund, EcoSplat. So obviously, a business built around an impact, and it's not, in the world of B Corp, not every business has been built with impact in mind. Some of them, hey, we just had a business and we've now realized that we want to be a better business, and there's this framework. But I think the really really cool B Corps are the ones that are like, no, actually this whole thing is focused around solving a problem. And so how did you come across B Corp? Where did that pop up on the radar? Because obviously sustained fund is
so I came across B Corp with the Rubbish Whisperer, and it was probably that our circles sort of overlapped a bit back in the day. So the Rubbish Whisperer met all the B Corp standards as well, but I didn't want to be a B Corp until everybody knew what B Corp was, which I'm afraid probably didn't help B Corp if there's all these people hanging back. But when you're a small business, like you've got limited funds to put towards certifications and things. So we wanted one certification that people knew about, that was going to that would cover as much as we could. So when we came to Sustain Fun, so we set that up in 2021, and by then people knew what B Corp was, and we were like, excellent, because we are ready to go. So a lot of the things with B Corp are things that we do anyway, and we would do them anyway, but B Corp allows us to do them more formally, or actually formally. So we set up Sustain Fun using the B Corp framework, so that it was embedded right from the beginning.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, who wants to be first to the party, Helen? You just wait wait in the background doing your thing while the rest of us are trying to create systemic change and make the world a better place.
It fits with our personalities, really, doesn't it? I'll wait for you to go, and then
you go first. You go first.
I'll come along.
Classic. It's typical. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you were. Yeah, I don't know what number B Corp you were. I
don't know. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Well, that's not my metric anyway.
No,
we went first, so it doesn't.
Yeah, it's curious to know. We can find out. But yeah, I think you're one of those classic companies that like you say, you were a B Corp and everything already, and you've kind of used the framework maybe just to tighten some nuts and bolts, and just you use the framework as a guiding light rather than okay, we need to transform the company, because you are such an
so much easier to set up a company as a B Corp from the beginning than retrofit later on.
100%. Particularly, the bigger and older the company is, it's just like, well, this is how we've done HR for the last 400 years or 30 years or however long it is. It's like,
400. Awesome.
You might need to change that. But we don't want to, or we're not sure how to. Yeah, so no, definitely easier. Yeah. And so what was the B Corp journey like for you? Were there any, obviously you'd built the company around a lot of it, but were there any sort of highlights or surprises or?
I really enjoyed it. I found it really easy because of just the way that we are. And we've been doing this kind of stuff for the previous sort of 8 years, even if it wasn't reported as B Corp. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. We did, so we set it up with B Corp, but we hadn't been trading, so then we had to wait a year before we verified. The only thing that I still don't know anything about this because we never got any feedback, but in the verification we went in with a quite a high score, and then we had our verification meeting and they're like, yep, it's all good, great, it's all good. And then our score dropped by heaps, but we never got any feedback. We didn't know if it was if there's anything we could fix, or if we'd done it wrong or anything. So it was still B Corp. Oh, what's happening? Are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Oh, sorry. My screen disappeared. So we never found out if there was something we could have done differently, or we didn't have a chance to fix anything, or if we'd done it wrong, or who knows what happened. So that was a bit of a disappointment, but it might have just been, it was in there. So it was a year ago, and B Corp was really snowed under. Yeah, there was applications.
Smashed.
I think they had a bunch of new people starting, a whole queue of things. So so that was a bit disappointing. The other thing that was really interesting was there's a question about who your suppliers are.
Yep.
And about diversity of suppliers, and whether your suppliers are companies owned by women or not. And it was really interesting because they had a minimum spend. It's something like 80% of your
what accounts for 80% of your spend.
So we decided we didn't really like that question, because we have, so most of our spend is the product, which we have not that much control over who makes that. But the thing we do have control over is like all the small companies we work with, like our photographer and our people who all those little companies, accountants and all of that. But a lot of those, a lot of people use us one-woman companies, and so they don't, and we don't use them for like the biggest spend.
Yep.
So we really wanted those companies to be counted as female-led companies, because like $100 to a woman who set up her own company and is trying to grow it is way more important than $10,000 to a multinational.
A big, it's you know, B Corp's not perfect.
Of course not. No. How would you measure? How would you measure these things?
Yeah. Well, and in some ways, like service companies like mine are hit as well, because the majority of my spend goes to like Google for hosting email, and you know, LinkedIn premium subscription, and there's a few other tech platforms. So when you start looking down at where we spend most of our money, it's with large companies that are monopolies, that we have no real, you know, there isn't, you know, Helen's email, you know, Google Suite provision based in Christchurch where I can switch all my, you know, and there is no other LinkedIn. There is only the one LinkedIn. So yeah, it's in some ways it's sort of harder for smaller companies to do better on that supply chain stuff. Whereas in some ways the bigger companies have got more options, and typically because they're the big mothership, you know, they have smaller companies feeding in. Yeah, I mean, it is all, you know, with the new draft standards coming through. I've had a quick look at some of them actually last night. Was it last night or the night before last? Last night. No, night before last. Because I've got a focus session on that at some point. Might be tomorrow or next week. Yeah, you know, they're trying to fix some of these things. Yeah, I mean, the other one is like the geographic location, because quite often, you know, you might be based in a fairly remote place and you're buying something from the closest place that you can buy it from, but it's not within the, you know, 80 miles, whatever it is, perimeter. But you know, there is latitude around some of those points if you can kind of have a conversation with the auditor. But yeah, it's not always. I mean, it can sometimes come down to the auditor on the day, and it's not always. So some of the questions are really black and white, and some are nuanced, and it comes down to how good your defense lawyer is on the day.
Oh, I don't know if we need to go that far. Generally, it's great, and there are questions that made us think about, you know, things we hadn't thought about before, and the government stuff was really good. So, you know, writing some of those policies and things, it was really interesting. It made us, it helped us talk to each other about things that were important to us. Because Anthea and I had worked together before, we knew that there were points that we like didn't really agree on, and so when we set it up, we're like, well, we want to make sure that when we get to those points, we don't have a fight.
Yep.
So,
and if you did, you could have had a water balloon fight. So it would have been all right.
Have a water balloon fight.
This is how we're going to solve it in the boardroom.
Yeah. So there were things like in our code of ethics, which we hadn't written, and we had them all, but we hadn't put down on paper. And so we got things like, for Anthea, it was really, really important that we didn't use the words warfare and bombs in our marketing. So it's in our code of ethics, and that's good. For me, it was I really, really didn't want to use debt to buy schemes, because like we're selling toys, like we're not selling, I don't know, spare hearts or something, like blood transfusions. Like we really don't want people going into debt to buy toys that cost, you know, $20 to $30. So we put that in there, and moved on.
Nice. And so when did you certified last year? Was it the year before now?
Yeah, no, it was February last year.
February last year. Nice. So coming up to pretty much 1 year anniversary. And how's it been? Yeah, any noticeable difference around you, the business, customers, or anyone, or just?
I don't know if it's had I mean, we're still so young, so it's hard to pin something down to whether it's because we're B Corp or not. But we've definitely had people, you know, have messaged us. They're like, oh yeah, you're a B Corp, or I contacted you because you're a B Corp, and people outside of the business industry going, oh, you're a B Corp. Oh, that's really hard. Oh, well done. So yeah, like just it's a good way of getting, if people know what B Corp is, it's a good way of getting across your values and your purpose and things. So yeah,
totally. And I think it's only increasing. was talking to someone on our podcast last week. I think it might have been Mike from Brightly. You know, he connected to B Corp through Patagonia. And so, you know, the more brands there are that are representing B Corp and talking about it, the more opportunities there are for people to connect to it, to go, either what is this thing? Like, you know, Mike said, I saw this little bee in a circle, and I was like, what is it? And then he researched it. It's like, oh, this is quite cool. So yeah, I think just the more companies, and particularly, you know, consumer companies like yours, which hopefully are getting into the hands of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people around the world, you know, they'll be able to go, oh, okay, this is, you know, this, I vibe with this product because of what it's all about. This product has got this certification, or this company's got this certification. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, I think, don't underestimate the impact of you know, what literally the impact of each water balloon is going to have.
I haven't heard that one before, Tim. I made that pun often myself.
Nice. There's quite a few puns in the world of business for good, I find.
I think, yeah.
It's the place to be, people, if you like cheesy jokes.
Don't we all?
And so, I mean, how's business going? Obviously, you know, lean startup. How's the reception been? People getting it in general?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many people who have a deep hatred for disposable water balloons. So that's pretty exciting when they come and say that a surprising number of people have been gifted water balloons, and then they put them like in the top cupboard and won't let their children play with them.
Wow.
And so delighted to have EcoSplat. Then they were really popular obviously before Christmas. We've just expanded into Australia this year, so that's pretty exciting.
Nice.
And we've started a new brand called Wild Fixes, which is to do with nature-based solutions to climate change. And people who are into nature-based solutions for climate change are really, really, really excited.
Excellent.
So yeah, I think if people are worried about toys and plastic and rubbish and sustainability and feel guilty because their kids are getting all the stuff, or they're like don't want to buy it for them, you know, that's for us, that niche. So it's nice to be able to provide something so parents can buy things for their kids at Christmas and not feel guilty about it.
100%. Because I mean, you know, we've got an 11-year-old, so we're kind of through the toy sort of phase, really, but there's still enough crap that kids want to buy. When you, I mean, we did make use of toy libraries and stuff when she was smaller. You know, that's a really cool slip, but it's still typically a plastic material, but it's going to be, you know, possibly two generations of kids or more that might get the value out of it. So at least you're extending the life of it. Have you thought about offering? It almost feels like an amnesty you could do. You know, like come and hand in your shitty latex balloons, and we'll trade them for they'll give you a discount on your first set. You have done that. Yeah. Nice. And did that go well?
Envelopes full of single-use water balloons.
Fantastic. And then what do you do? What do you do with them? Do you just have
we use them to take photos of single-use water balloons.
Right, to sort of prove
so we didn't have to buy any, so it was useful for us.
Your hands are free of blood.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so I suppose, I mean, in terms of the impact that you're making, I mean, it's a pretty obvious impact. You know, it's around the reduction of the plastic waste. But is there any impact mistakes that you've made on the journey? Well, I mean, maybe, or perhaps with the Rubbish Whisperer, it was maybe peaking too soon. But yeah, where would have been some sort of dead ends maybe that you've gone down to, or areas that maybe didn't provide as much impact as you hoped they would?
Sometimes, well, it's not a mistake because we wouldn't do it another way, but we have discovered that reducing all of your carbon at source makes it really hard to report, because people don't like that because you have nothing to report against. So people like improvement, but we don't want to do it really bad so we can do it better.
Yeah, there's no point creating an artificially low base. Yeah, we're just going to go. We're just going to throw some toxic waste in the river this year, so that next year we don't, and we look like we're really good.
Yeah. So, like, for example, we wanted to be zero carbon certified, but we don't produce enough carbon to qualify for one
Right.
of the certifications. So it costs like, thousands of dollars. And we're like, it was like 8 tons of carbon. Like,
Yeah. Again, that's
um,
sometimes the challenge for the smaller business is you're treading so lightly that
yeah,
it's actually hard for you to, yeah,
yeah.
make a difference.
We did make a mistake. We purposefully made these out of craft because then they stand out in the water toy aisle. So that was really great. And so then we did an activity book, and we wanted it to match. So we wanted to make the cover out of craft as well, but it turns out craft is really hard to print on, and so we made these books. They're really, really ugly. And when we showed them to people, like there was
It's
like,
like, yeah, nah,
oh,
we're good, thanks. Maybe it'll be like the ugly vegetable thing. Again, I think you're ahead of your time. Maybe go to the local library and suggest an ugly book section.
yeah,
Same result, tastes the same as the other veg, just looks a bit
yeah,
ugly.
yeah. So that did not work. So this year we've swapped to just a normal coloured cover.
Nice.
So yeah, it doesn't always come out how you
Yeah.
think it's going to come out.
See, if
Yeah.
you'd just done more research.
Oh, we did. We did, but we were still wrong.
Nice. I think that's the thing. I think it's the reason I'm asking that question, because I think a lot of people just go, oh well, look, Helen is nailing it. She's got this great product. It's the perfect product. Da da da. It's like, well, yeah, but it's not. You see the finished end result, but you don't see all the iterations,
Oh,
the journey of it, and
we made this we prototyped these way back in 2018 with a rubbish whisperer, but the size was wrong, and it wasn't made quite right, and we didn't have any packaging, and then we did some packaging. We didn't like that. Well, we didn't get it printed, but like I've got a shelf full of like boxes made up with bits of A4. Like, should we do it this size? Should we do it that size? But yeah, you never see that. It's just all like, ta-da, here we are.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think quite often the you can do research, but the book research quite often is different to what happens in the real world. And it's not until, like, because we do workshops and training stuff as well as the B Corp consulting. And if I'm putting a new workshop together, it will look great, when you're just looking through it. But it's not until you get in a room with 50 people and you're delivering it and you go, those slides are in completely the wrong order, because now it makes sense you've actually done it. Yeah. So I think, you can only do as much as you can do to test, offline before you actually put it into the real world to get real results.
Sometimes you just have to take the plunge. And
exactly that. You're never going to be, what is it? The guy, Reid Hoffman, the guy who started LinkedIn, he said, you should be so embarrassed when you look back at the first iteration, you should be so embarrassed that it saw the light of day, basically, because that means you're pushing the right level of innovation. Because if it's perfect and it's the one that it'll always be for the rest of your life, then you were too late. So
I mean, we've changed the website a number of times. We started with EcoSplat. We've just changed over to Sustain Fun as our main website that sells our brands through. And logos have changed. Some logos had horrendous colors.
It's all part of the journey.
We're like, but you can't wait till it's perfect. Like,
no.
Otherwise you'd never do it. You just got to go for it and hope for the best, and then change it when you next can.
Exactly that. Yeah. There's so many good ideas currently sat on someone's desktop or inside their head or in a notebook. So if that's you, just bloody do it. Get walking, get talking, get it out there. Because I think particularly if you've got an idea that you think is going to make a positive contribution, it's almost like it's your duty to get that out, rather than
there's a good field trip. That's right, Tim. You tell them.
Come on, get it out there. Because I mean, yours could be the idea that we're all looking for. But whatever it is, it's like, until you put it out there, you're not going to know.
No, we didn't know that there was all these people who hated water balloons as much as they did until we made it.
Until you did it. Yeah. So were you the first ones in the world to make that?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's cool.
I know. That's awesome.
Super cool. So how did you go about designing it? Like, did you, because they almost look like it almost looks like a woolen, like, crochet type thing. So how did you go about? Who?
Well,
Yeah,
Anthea just turned up.
and said, "Hey, I've done this.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was like, sweet, let's
Let's
do
go."
it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because it almost looks like a mitt, doesn't it? It almost looks like a
Yeah,
child's
so it's
mitten
not
that you
so the
could.
fabric is really absorbent, so
Yeah,
it's not stuffed with anything or anything.
yeah,
So yeah, it's just choosing. Like, it took us a while, to choose the right fabric and check it's going to work and
yeah,
check it's going to release any water and it's going to dry and things. So yeah, there's always trials.
yeah. It's all trials and tribulations. It's pretty much life, really, isn't it?
Yep.
And so you're running a really cool little B Corp. You're doing some good. You got a good bit of impact going. Do you ever have any moments where, because obviously, you're trying to scale up the business, you want to get it going. Have you had any moments where it's like, okay, look, we could take the money here, but actually it doesn't really vibe with our code of ethics or how we would run this thing? Yeah, have you had any moments or crisis of conscience where you sort of had to take the money, or have you just been pure of heart and gone, no, look, we're just going to stick to our knitting or stick to our water balloons here? Yeah, and does that ever come up as a challenge?
It's really interesting because it was a little while ago that someone asked me about the challenges with balancing profit and purpose. And I was just like, no, there aren't any. And that we had a conversation about it. And then afterwards I realized that they didn't understand what I was saying at all. And I was like, oh, hang on, I must be saying this incorrectly, because their conversation didn't go how I meant, because they sort of thought that because we're so purpose driven, we must not be wanting to make a profit, or we must not be very good at looking at the numbers, or any of those things. I was like, no, we do all of that and we do all the purpose, but I think the question, well, it was just a different way of thinking about it. So I don't consider that there is a conflict between purpose and profit, because we wouldn't be doing this if there was no purpose. So it's not like we have a product and now we want to be more purposeful because we want to be a B Corp. And so therefore we have to look at that product and think, how is it going to be better? Or maybe we're going to lose 10% of profit margin or whatever. It's like, this is what we're doing. And if the profit, if we make like, I don't know, $100, or when we could have made $105 or whatever, like, really don't, like, that's not an issue for us. But then I thought, there is an example. So I have an example for you of this, and I'll show you. So this is our new puzzle. So this is a puzzle that talks about the carbon cycle in the ocean. So it's got a really nice picture. It's got like value added stuff. It's got search and finds. It's got stuff about a little bit about the science. It's got storytelling prompts. So it's got lots of things for a family to do. So we were really pleased with this. And the puzzle box exactly fits the puzzle inside. And we were told when we made it that it was too small. The box was too small. And we were like, well, but it fits the the puzzle. So we want to do it this size. And then we looked, so we didn't just blindly go down the route of doing the size we wanted to. We checked out other puzzle box sizes. And there was another company who actually this was last year, I think, and they were on the process of becoming a B Corp, and they had reduced their puzzle box size. So we're like, well, okay, so if they can do it, and they're a big company that's been around 100 years or something, then we can stick with our guns and keep the size we want. But recently we discovered, so this is about the size, this is not a puzzle because I don't have one in this size. This is the glorious game of life.
Yep.
A great game if you like to have your life based on who gets the biggest house at the end. I don't. But so this is the size of a puzzle, basically, and this is our box. And it turns out
the size.
that, yeah, it's half the size. It turns out that in the world of toys, you can charge more for the bigger box. So it doesn't matter what your puzzle is. It could be, all those puzzles of like weird looking dolphins from the 90s, or old stately homes with ivy and heaps of sky. Like, if you put in a bigger box, you can charge $10, $15 more than if it's in a smaller box. And that was like, dumb. It's really dumb. Like,
Mm.
like we don't want to make a puzzle, put it in a massive box,
Just to
and
make
then
more money.
shrink wrap it, use all those resources, ship it around the world, and then have it take up more space on the shelf of a toy shop, and then, or we send it out from our online shop, and we spend more on shipping. The customer spends more on shipping, and we've got all those carbon emissions and all of that. Well, we're not gonna do that. So we're not gonna do
just make
that.
the money. Mm.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. So this is where it becomes not a conflict, because it's like, no, I'm not going to do that because that's dumb. And I don't want to live in that world where we go, oh, it's bigger. So let's, like, how big are we going to make puzzle boxes?
Yeah, it's just massive. The size of a house. It's got one jigsaw piece in it. Yeah. It says a lot about it. I think a lot of this comes down to human psychology, doesn't it? You know,
it does. It's perceived value, but
yeah. Because was it you who told me about the toothpastes? I'm pretty sure you were the one who told me about the hole in the top of the toothpaste. They make that. I'm pretty sure it was you or Anthea. How they make it bigger than it needs to be, so that you put more, you use more toothpaste than you probably need to per, you know, and because the dentist says, "Oh, use a pea size," but the toothbrush is, you know, an inch long, and I'm pretty sure it was you or Anthea said that there's a whole sort of manufacturing principle behind it, where, you know, that you're basically using more toothpaste per squeeze than you want to or need to use, because you're going to get through the toothpaste more quickly, which means you buy, you know, maybe one or two more a year than you would if you had the perfect, you know, almost like a shot dispenser in the bar. Like, if it was a perfect, like, here's the pea size that you need, it just snaps it off. But no, it's like, oh, it's too much. But who you know, who scrapes it off the toothbrush and puts it back? You know, it's like, you don't think about it, but all these little, I guess every day you're being chipped away against with all these little things that are taking more from you than you need to be giving, and they all add up, and they all have a social and environmental cost. I think, you know, you are, like I say, you are that the really cool impact. You know, there should be, you know, because every dollar that you're making is a dollar that one of these crappy latex plasticky companies isn't making, and yours is a net positive contribution. Theirs is possibly a net negative contribution. So I think, and that, I think you've got that lens, which is possibly what that other person was getting at. But I like the fact that you're kind of going to that next level of, well, yeah, but we don't need that, so I'm not interested. I think, the more purpose driven and impactful you are, the clearer. I think that's why I like asking that question, because it's the more you are of the opinion around your purpose and impact, the clearer it is that, no, that's a dumb thing to do, and I don't care if it's going to get me a Maserati, because I don't want a Maserati anyway.
No.
So close that loop.
It's really, I mean, it's very stubborn, like, but I'm not going to do it. So, but what that does mean is that, because the same with this is a box exactly the size of the product. And originally we made our boxes bigger, and then we're like, no, that's dumb. We're not going to do that. But what we are starting to do this year is tell everybody why our box is this size and why it's like that. Because when we visited our stockists and we've told them, they're like, oh, that's really good to know. But also we sell to a lot of shops who don't have much space.
Well, I was going to say, you'd think, if anything, it's in the shop's benefit to be able to get more product on the shelf rather than have one massive board game. I mean, yes, they're getting more money, but it gives more opportunities maybe to more people to create more products, you know, more of your type of products, obviously, rather than just more plastic tap. But you sort of think, but I think it's just a classic, I guess. I mean, you're targeting an industry that has been pretty much built on plastic.
Oh yeah, so
for the last, you know, since plastics were invented. So you're coming at this from a whole range of angles around, but that's a really the way you set it up works for how it used to work, but not how it needs to work. And so I think you're probably challenging people on a lot of levels.
So the toy industry is a really, really long way behind most other industries when it comes to sustainability. So it's heavily plastic. Well, it is. It's not like 90% of toys are made of plastic. They're all made of virgin oil. Did you know, Tim, this is amazing. Like 1% of global plastic production is in the toy industry to make toys that generally are thrown out because kids get bored of them. So, like, we want to.
I did not know that.
No, I know. So another reason for our company is to, not that this will sound too ambitious or anything, but change the global toy industry and make it more sustainable. Which it's definitely crying out for, because we set up a campaign 2 years ago now called World Sustainable Toy Day. Mm-hmm. And we set it up because we decided there should be a World Sustainable Toy Day, and we looked and there was not. It's the third Friday of November, which is a week before Black Friday, which seems like a good time to remind people about the impact that the toy industry has. So it's became like a runaway success, like straight away. So we had supporters sign up, toy companies, toy associations, toy shops, toy libraries, obviously massively into sustainable toys. Mm. And it's just like last year, our theme was towards a carbon neutral toy industry. And there was a toy company in Greece who we've never even heard of doing stuff for World Sustainable Toy Day. So within 2 years, it was free into the wild. So
nice,
it's pretty exciting.
Creating a movement. But
yeah.
Like I say, our daughter's 11, almost 12. But even when she was a baby, the whole talk around reusable nappies, it seems to me that the parenting world is perhaps slightly more attuned to the message now than it perhaps historically has been. And the sort of younger generation of parents coming through who perhaps are more socially and environmentally minded. So, I think your timing has got to be there or thereabouts. In terms of a market that's receptive to this. More natural products, natural foods, all of that seems to be when I look at what in terms of marketing and stuff that's out there for that in that kids space. Natural, wool-based products, blah blah blah. Like it's all, I'd say that the tide is rising for the sector that you're in more broadly.
Yeah, it's ready. I mean, the customers are definitely ready. Families are ready and parents are ready. It's just that the toy industry hasn't responded.
They haven't connected that. Yeah, which is crazy.
They can just keep going. Like, they know that every Christmas and every birthday, parents will definitely buy something for their children. So there hasn't been any incentive to become more sustainable because it's kind of like a captive market.
It's like a monopoly. Well, it's the same with the telecommunication companies in every country. It's like there's 3 to 5 telcos in every country. Well, they all have to be just as shit as each other to get a third or a fifth of the business, because you pretty much have to be with one of them. So there's no incentive for one to be exponentially better than the others, because the cost it will incur to get an extra 10% of the customer base, it's not worth it. And I guess also with toys that they're always manufacturing the toy of the year that you have to have, which creates that buzz.
It didn't used to. It's been like the last 15, 20 years, toys have become really trend based, just like fashion has. So that's now it's a really high turnover of single use. Well, I mean, no, they're not all single use, but kids get sick of their toys really quickly. So
because there's the expectation of what's next, and I want a new one. And
that's the thing. Like, for me, that's what toys have to do with climate change the most. It's not that they're made of plastic. It's that toys are where we train children in life. It's where we train them to be consumers and to follow trends, and to, like, we train them at school about sustainability, and they go to enviro schools and all of that. But then as soon as it comes to fun, they go into a toy shop and it's all plastic. So we're teaching them that sustainability is great at school where it's boring, but when it comes to fun, it's plastic, it's disposable, it's all of that. And that's really bad for the future, because we need like all children to grow into adults who have like an awareness and interest in climate change, no matter what their job is. So I think it's super important. I think it's a super important industry when it comes to climate change, really important.
Yeah, that's a cool observation, because when I used to sell medical device equipment, and the whole thing was you need to get the doctors as early as possible, get them in their training, and that you can, they're more, people are more malleable in terms of their decision making, and you get that loyalty from an earlier spot. So using that sort of consumer psychology insights, like if we can get kids as early as possible with the right message.
And kids and young people are really suffering from climate anxiety, and no wonder if like every toy they've been given is like virgin plastic, and Like, we can't keep making them so sad.
Yeah. And I mean, the irony, I always, it's the classic refrain. Every year when my daughter was younger, she'd spend more time playing with the bloody cardboard box
Yeah.
than any of the plastic tap that was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a funny bunch. We are
Yeah.
a funny bunch of people.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I have no doubt that you're gonna make big waves in the industry here. I think, yeah, it's interesting. You'd think the toy industry, like you say, it's that sort of monopoly-esque mindset, but you think they'd be pretty hot on consumer demands and human psychology and what's trending, because they are all about what's trending. So interesting.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it's like a lot of industries. There's this perception that having to change to do more good is going to cost us. We're going to lose money. We're going to lose market share. But there's a bunch of increasing evidence and data that coming out that shows like the transition is possibly cost neutral, or there's going to be a benefit. And I just think, we're just maybe just waiting for the right people to come and take over some of these companies, or I mean,
I guess before sort of this time in history with being able to set up a business and a Shopify and a social media and stuff, like, I mean, if people wanted to go into the toy industry, I mean, we didn't want to go into the toy industry. We're just like, well, that's straws and plastic bags, done. Like, we need to do the next, sort the next problem out. But I guess if you wanted to be in the toy industry, you'd go and work for a toy company, and they'd train you to work in the toy company, and you would learn how to do it from a non-sustainable toy company. But now there's all of these annoying people. I was going to say disruptors, but that sounds a bit entrepreneurial, doesn't it? All of these annoying people who are messing about making sustainable toys.
Nice. Have you thought about potentially creating like getting in contact with some of these other global ones and, hey, look, why don't we join forces? Because if you've got, it's a challenge trying to get more than 3 people who don't know each other to agree on what color you might need to make a toy. But the possibility of scaling quickly to take on, because it's a classic. Well, I think it's a bit of a classic conundrum. If you were running Hasbro, you would have a mandate to be able to make a change across a global scale that would have immense impact, versus chipping away. Not that I'm saying what you're doing is not valuable and important, but chipping away and trying to take on Hasbro. I just wonder if there's something around getting a few of you together where you've got different toys and like, hey, look, let's create like an umbrella corporation that's bigger than the sum of the parts, so that you can get better distribution deals and really take on those bigger companies.
Actually, I have started thinking about that. So there are some other small companies that are doing really great things, board games and all of that kind of stuff. So we've made contact with them, and it'd be really good. I'd really like that.
I think that could be super impact. Like I say, the challenge is just other people's egos and desires, and but in our code of ethics, we don't care about that. And trying to do that at scale across cultures, across countries, across time zones, it's tricky. But you just sort of think, like I say, if they've got board games, we've got water balloons, and we've got books, they've got this. Like even if you just create like almost like a supply group, where you have you all engage one person to represent your collective products and go and hit on I think I would definitely be exploring that.
That's great that you think that, because I've been thinking that too. I haven't told Anthea I've been thinking that.
Sorry, Anthea. You should have come on the podcast as well.
But if there's someone, also I'm going to just say, if there's people listening who can help us in our growth, just get in touch.
100%.
We're ready.
We're ready, boys.
We're ready.
Because just going back to the kid thing, I knew I had something else in the back of my mind, but like you'll be aware of this, I'm sure, but the original game of Monopoly was based on sharing and compassion, not he who has the most toys, or he or she who has the most toys at the end wins. And so it's the culture of the games, and it's even when you look at TV programs. try not to watch TV or more watching documentaries and stuff. But you see an advert for like Survivor, and you go, really? Why don't we have a game show called I don't know.
Let's all just get along.
Yeah, let's we work together to survive instead of I try and tear everyone down.
Yeah,
but I guess we're wired to watch that because it is interesting watching people tear each other apart.
Yeah, there are some really nice collaborative board games around. So I've played a couple of them.
Which ones are those?
If you're super competitive.
Yeah, this game's rubbish.
We didn't.
What do you mean we've all won?
I didn't enjoy it that much due to the competitive nature of this household. But I have a friend who's extremely not competitive, and she played it with her children and really, really enjoyed it, and the children really enjoyed it. So there's a company called there's a company in Australia called Joey Games, and they make a collaborative game called Pass the Party Food, which is not available in New Zealand. It's available in Australia though, and they are great. They're another company founded by someone who started off in science as well.
There's a theme emerging here.
Science,
but you just think, in the game of Monopoly, you get taxed potentially by chance. You might go to jail by chance, but it's like, well, what if there was a way that if you're winning, you get to mentor someone who's not doing so well, or because we know that the data is there, that the act of giving, the act of helping, the act of mentoring is actually super, super meaningful and valuable. Whereas we kind of know that psychologically, if you have everything but you're lonely, that's actually one of the worst places to be. And we know that having valuables and trinketry and stuff is meaningless, and we know that that's long term actually detrimental to your mental health. So it's like we know there's enough. Maybe we need different scientists in the board, with some more psychologists and psychotherapists involved in designing the board games. So it's like how do we get the trick people into thinking about doing more good rather than I win.
Yeah,
you lot lose.
Yeah, it's really easy to measure, I don't know, money because it's very measurable. It's very hard to measure quality of life and how many friends you've got and how much time you like to spend with them and stuff. 100%.
I remember there's a guy, I think is it Nathan Wallace? He's the local Kiwi guy. He talks about child development stuff. And we went to watch one of his talks, my wife and I, and it was like in two halves, and at half time, well, for the first half, he'd been talking about, if you do this with your kid, then statistically they're more likely to be more successful. And he kept referring to statistically more successful. And at the half-time break, he said, are there any questions? I said, well, yeah, I've got a question. When you say statistically more successful, what do you mean? And he said, well, basically what we track is level of job, level of education and income. And I said, well, I've worked for some very highly qualified, very wealthy sociopaths in my life. And I'd really rather that my daughter didn't turn out into one of them. So are you not tracking, meaning, purpose, contentment? And he's like, well, no, because we can't track them. It's like, okay, well, not wanting to say that your research is all shit, but, you're pushing kids down a track here of chasing wealth and stature rather than meaning, contentment, happiness, fulfillment, and contribution. So
I mean, and that's what makes it worth it. I mean, Anthea and I have been told that sometimes we don't get taken seriously because we're too happy. So apparently,
no fun. Stop having fun at work.
Yeah, I mean, this guy,
way too fun. He's hanging out there. He's doing all right. He hasn't fallen down yet.
You can't be good at business if you're also happy. Apparently,
So, wow, you think in the toy? What do you mean? I can't be happy in the toy industry? Like, if there's one industry that surely you have to be happy in, it's the toy industry.
You would think we were like, this is a good industry for us because we're happy people.
The toy industry needs to have a really good look at it itself, as far as I'm concerned. Like, how boring would it be working in a toy company with just a bunch of grumpy old people now? Like, are they just full of Scrooges and Grinches?
I mean, they're not. I think. I mean, they're billion-dollar companies. It's not about purpose.
I mean, if I had $1 billion company, I would certainly have a Scrooge McDuck room just full of money, and I'd go swimming in it every now and then. But that would make me a little bit happy. But then I'd want to do some good with it.
Then you'd give it all away.
Probably.
Now I'm a philanthropist.
A philanthropist.
I can't be one because I can't say it.
That's easy for you to say. Yeah.
A charitable giver.
Yeah. Oh man, It's quite, yeah, it's cool doing these podcasts to just find these little industries and people doing stuff that, obviously we know each other, but yeah, just learning a little bit more about these specific industries. You just think, yeah, like surely they'd be happy in the toy industry.
I mean, why? I mean,
why would you get into the industry if you didn't want to?
Why would you go into an industry if you're not allowed to be
sick kind of person creates that kind of vibe? Yeah. Well, I have no doubt you will break that barrier down as well.
Good, because I'm not going to be miserable.
Yeah.
Pointless.
You should have like some little fake, sad mouth thing that you put on. Sorry.
I can do this one.
Yeah. I'm trying to be more sad. Sorry, it's just I have to put a face mask on because I'm struggling to think about being sad.
Yeah.
So sort of plans for the future. What obviously high scoring, a solid B Corp, but yeah, any areas of the business that you're working on being better, or any new and exciting products that you've got coming down the line?
Yeah. So we've started tracking our Scope 3 carbon emissions, because they are our biggest ones.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from the mandatory things we've done, but so we're going to do that. We've got we've got a load of new products in the works, but this year we're going to hopefully bring out some more climate change focused products, things to like just relieve climate anxiety and educate around climate change and nature and stuff like that. But when I say educate, I mean have fun playing games. We're not an educational toy company, but we're not just going to make rubbish either.
I think as I heard someone describe it once, a chocolate covered carrot. It's like there's you see the chocolate in a funny shape and think that's cool, I'm going to eat that, but inside there's a dose of goodness.
As long as it's not disappointing, but hopefully the things, I don't really want to say educating. It's like the puzzle, like sure, it's educational because it's about a real thing that happens in the world, but it's not educational, it's a puzzle, but it's fun to do. So we're gonna do that. And like I said, we've just swapped over from just being EcoSplat to being Sustain Fun as a company. We're selling the products under that banner, so pretty exciting, I
reckon. I'm eagerly watching from the sidelines to see where Sustain Fun goes. Maybe you should change the name of the company to Sustain Misery. Maybe that'll help you.
Oh my goodness, a toy company called Sustain Misery.
Should have like a sister company like Sustain Misery.
Well, I have not had that idea, so that's a new one. Thanks, Tim.
It's all yours. I'm available. It's all yours.
Yeah, I'm not paying you for that one though.
All right. Well, you say that, but
Okay, well, I'll think about it.
Cool. And then we spoke just before we came on. It's a question that I've been thinking about asking people, but in terms of the world of B Corp, who is your favorite B Corp?
So you put me on the spot, so I didn't have time to go and check.
I did an hour ago.
I know, but I've been talking since then. I'm not thinking. So I like the B Corps and the companies who want to be B Corps that are founded by scientists, because that's really awesome. So Chia Sisters,
nice.
I think they're pretty awesome. There's a toy company. There's 18 toy companies in the world that are B Corps.
Oh wow.
So that's pretty awesome. There's a list of them on the website. So we contacted them all and went, yay!
We should do stuff together. Let's all be miserable together.
There's like little, they're all reasonably small. There's someone who does, I think, party bags in the UK. They're a B Corp, and I like lots of them, I suppose. I like the little ones and the science ones.
Nice.
So people who were doing something else and then they did a company that's a B Corp. I think that's awesome because that's what we do. So I feel an affinity for that.
That's reasonable. Fair and reasonable. Super cool. Well, on that note, go and be miserable. Go and get rid of all the fun out of your life and go and sell some toys. No, it's been cool to catch up. We haven't seen each other for a while. But no, such a cool idea. I think your timing is pretty spot on. I just think more and more people are looking for better options across their life. And I think this is, as you've seen, a lot of people telling you that this is one area that they want to see some change. So yeah, I have no doubt there'll be a plethora of other amazing toy products coming our way. And I'm just a little bit sad that my daughter's not sort of young enough to make the most of it. Or I'm not young enough to make the most of it. I'm lucky to go back again.
Yeah, our children are growing up, so we're
Long
losing
gone.
our sisters and all those people. Like, oh well, never mind.
Oh well.
Life moves on.
It does.
Yeah.
I don't know. Moving into the teenage years.
Well, yeah.
Anything can happen.
Okay, we'll just carry on being happy and let the misery pass by.
Just can't even spell it, let alone say it. Cool. But no, thank you for your time, Helen, and catch you soon.
Yeah, see ya.
Hey, it's Tim here, that B Corp bloke from Grow Good. If you want more content on purpose, B Corp, how to do more good in the world as an individual or a business, then you know the drill. Hit the like and subscribe. Check out some of our other videos. They're probably floating around here somewhere. You know how it works. Thank you so much. See you next time.